Hey guys, Sherry Fox here with What the Fox, and one of my favorite things about summer is being able to see these little guys. Hummingbirds are one of the smallest species of birds, but what makes these guys so intriguing is not only can they fly forward, they can also fly backwards, and believe it or not, they can even fly upside down. They are also one of the only species of birds that can hover for long periods of time during flight. And guess what, guys? Their brains make up more percentage of their body weight in comparison to ours. This is how not only are they able to remember their migration routes every year, but they can remember flowers they have visited. They know how long to wait so the flower makes more nectar. Not to mention, they recognize humans. When you see several hummingbirds around a feeder like this, you may think they're pretty social birds, but in reality, they're antisocial. The fast movements, series of chirps, and sometimes you can even hear their wings hitting together, is just them competing for food, because they would prefer to keep their food source to themselves. When hanging your hummingbird feeder, you really need to pay close attention to the surroundings. It needs to be in an open area and not above or near a body of water, because when these little guys are competing for food, if you'll watch, they'll bump into each other and possibly knocking one of them to the ground. If there was water below, they can't get out. They'll drown. I happen to know this from personal experience. We hung our hummingbird feeder a little too close to our pond, and this little guy, he got knocked in. We just happened to be there to rescue him, so we moved our feeder to a safer location. And this little guy was rescued from the garage, so you need to be careful if you're leaving your garage door open during the day. They have a tendency to fly upward, so therefore they can't fly down to get out. If you ever get the chance to rescue one, just put them somewhere safe so they can rest until they can fly off on their own. I had the privilege of living in Tucson, Arizona for a while, and I got to see some amazing hummingbirds. These guys look like they have headdresses on, and their colors are incredible. So I wanted to share some of my pictures with you. I even got to witness a hummingbird nest. These things are so tiny, smaller than a 50-cent piece. So wherever you hang your hummingbird feeder, if you start looking around, you just might find one. So let me show you what we're feeding these guys. It's so simple. It's just 1 cup of sugar to 3 cups of water. Bring this to a boil and then set it to the side and allow it to cool. You can just bring 2 cups of water and a cup of sugar to a boil, and then let your 3rd cup be cold water if you'd like for it to cool faster. And there is no need to add food coloring to this. They will find it. If hanging a hummingbird feeder for the first time, you may only want to put a little in there until you figure out how many hummingbirds you may have. You can store the extra in a Tupperware container in the refrigerator. If you're hanging a hummingbird feeder from the previous year, you want to try to hang it in the same spot, or at least in the same line of sight, because when the birds migrate, it's the same birds that come back repeatedly, year after year. It may take them a few days to find it, so don't get discouraged. But the main thing you need to remember is to change and clean your hummingbird feeder every 2 to 3 days, because it can become molded or fermented in the hot sun. If you're wondering when you're supposed to hang your hummingbird feeders, it's usually early March, depending on your region, and you'll take them down before the winter, usually around November. Even if you leave your feeders up a couple of weeks after you stop seeing hummingbirds, it's not going to cause them to stay. Most of these birds are just passing through or migrating, because there always could be that straggler that comes by, which could just be a young bird that hatched late in the season and wasn't ready to migrate when the rest of them did, so he might appreciate the extra help along the way. And if you're wondering how to get these little guys to eat out of your hand, it just takes patience. It's not going to happen overnight. Once you know you have hummingbirds, try taking the feeder down and offer them a handheld feeder. And maybe try doing this in the morning or in the evenings when hummingbirds are most likely to feed. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you like what we're doing here, smash that like button for me, and can I encourage you to subscribe? I would greatly appreciate it. And don't forget to click that little bell. That way when I upload new videos, you'll be the first to know.
This is Sherry saying you guys can do this easily. Thanks again, guys, for tuning in to What the Fox. Until next time, take care.
Oh, I love those little guys.